Joining me now by phone is DNC political contributor Linda Tran. She's a Democratic strategist and also founding partner at 270 Strategies. Okay, Linda, so it starts off, Tom Perez is the new chair. Immediately, he goes to name Ellison as the deputy chair. Do you think this will be enough, Linda, to heal the division within the Democratic Party?
Well, I'm not sure what the future is going to hold, but I will say that I thought that was an incredibly classy move that really kind of signaled that he really means it when he says he wants to unite the party and he wants to bring all the various branches under the big tent together to move forward and start organizing and rebuilding in the states that he spent a good deal of his speech discussing. You know, there's no question that after the 2016 race, after a very heated primary season, there's still some, hurt feelings and some intense sentiment from folks in the party who had supported either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, and it is significant that he made this move, which as far as I know, it's the first time this has ever happened, to have the primary person who had been his competitor now united with him to help lead the party forward.
Yeah, and Perez made a point of saying that Ellison conducted himself with class and grace, and then Ellison comes on and says, you've got to give everything you have to support this guy. We don't have the fortune of being divided when we leave this place. But what do you think Perez and Ellison need to do right off the bat?
I think that they really need to start thinking about the postmortem of 2016. There have been a number of independent organizations that have commissioned studies. There's been a lot of discussion about, quote unquote, what went wrong and how do we move forward. And so that is typically a role that the party, the national party, ought to take on. I expect that's going to be a big piece of what they're doing. But beyond that, there's broad consensus that one of the biggest challenges for Democrats, for liberals and progressives across the movement moving forward is within the states, and specifically making sure that there are strong Democrats who are filling offices in the state legislature level, at the governor's offices, and that's what's going to ultimately end up helping Democrats win in the future. So I expect that's going to be a huge focus for them strategically and also operationally.
Yeah, 2018 is not that far off. I'm wondering, though, Linda, if the biggest losers in this are possibly Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Both of them publicly backed Keith Ellison. What does this mean for them and the folks who support their movement?
I highly doubt that either Senator Sanders or Senator Warren sees this as a loss. I'm sure that both of them have good relationships with Tom Perez as well. And, at the end of the day, the person that they backed is going to have a meaningful voice helping to lead the party, and they've got to feel good about that.
And I should say that Senator Sanders has come out on Twitter congratulating Perez in his big win, and he said he looks forward to working with him. Perez spoke about organizing at every level, and, Trump won with a much smaller team, less funds. How does the DNC address that moving forward, Linda, especially coming to 2018?
Well, I think that, anytime you win, it doesn't mean you did everything right. And anytime you lose, it doesn't mean that you did everything wrong. And I think it would be a great mistake for the Democratic Party to somehow assess 2016 as a reason to walk away from organizing. And if, we're supposed to take anything from the remarks that Tom Perez just delivered, it's clear that he plans to double down on that. That means, making sure that you're building infrastructure and capacity within communities. But it also means that, they're going to want to focus on organizing within local communities. You're going to want to focus on building at the state level, in addition to the work that's done, every 4 years around a presidential cycle.
I want to ask you about the optics of something. At the beginning of this voting process, they were supposed to use electronic voting system. The Wi-Fi signal wasn't good, so then we see them shuffling papers and doing this paper balloting. What's going on with the technology over there?
So I wasn't there in the room today, so I have no idea how thick those walls are or what the Wi-Fi issues might have been. But, the good news is they were ready with a backup plan. And at the end of the day, they were able to tally and end up with the results to their votes. So it's all good news across the board as far as I'm concerned.
Apparently, outgoing Chair Donna Brazil is saying to the folks, we need our 8 clickers back that are missing. We have your names attached to them. So she's going to be hunting them down. Linda Tran, we really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Rena. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Linda. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have much more on the DNC chair, the new chair who's been appointed, and also the other news of the day. That's when we come back. You're watching CBSN.